वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 1, Text number 59. Please repeat after me. Drishtva samatvam tachaurehe Drishtva samatvam tachaurehe Satye chaiva vyavastitham Satye chaiva vyavastithim Kamsastushta manarajan Kamsastushta manarajan Prahasan idam abravit Prahasan idam abravit Drishtva samatvam tachaure Satye chaiva vyavastithim Kamsastushta manarajan Prahasan idam abravit Drishtva samatvam tachaure Satye chaiva vyavastithim Kamsastushta manarajan Prahasan idam abravit Drishtva samatvam tachaure Satve chaiva vyavastithim Kamsastushta manarajan Matajis Drishtva samatvam tachaure Satve chaiva vyavastithim Kamsastushta manarajan Prahasan idam abravit. Anybody else? Word to word translation. Please repeat after me. Drishtva, by seeing. Samatvam, being equipoised, undisturbed in distress or happiness. Tat, that. Shaurehe, of Vasudeva. Satye, in truthfulness. Cha, indeed. Eva, certainly. Vyavasthitim, the firm situation. Kamsaha, Kamsa. Tushtamanaha, being very satisfied with Vasudeva's behavior in delivering the first child to keep his promise. Rajan, O Maharaja Parikshit. Prahasan, with a smiling face. Idam, this. Abravit, said. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. My dear King Parikshit, when Kamsa saw that Vasudeva, being situated in truthfulness, was completely equipoised in giving him the child, he was very happy. Therefore, with a smiling face, he spoke as follows. Purport. The word samatvam is very significant in this verse. Samatvam refers to one who is always equipoised, unaffected by either happiness or distress. Vasudeva was so steadily equipoised that he did not seem in the least agitated when delivering his firstborn child into the hands of Kamsa to be killed. In Bhagavad Gita 2.56, it is said, Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha sukeshu vikata spruha. In the material world, one should not be very eager to be happy, nor should one be very much disturbed by material distress. Lord Krishna advised Arjuna, Matra sparshast kaunteya shitoshna sukadukkada agama payino anityas tam stitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O sign of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Bhagavad Gita 2.14. The self-realized soul is never disturbed by so-called distress or happiness. And this is especially true of an exalted devotee like Vasudeva, who showed this by his practical example. Vasudeva was not at all disturbed when delivering his first child to Kamsa to be killed. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Enam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gauravaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. My dear King Parikshit, when Kamsa saw that Vasudeva, being situated in truthfulness, was completely equipoised in giving him the child, he was very happy. Therefore, with a smiling face, he spoke as follows. There was once a king who had a big kingdom he was ruling over. And, as it happens, there were a few citizens who were imprisoned due to their not following his instructions. After some years, the king took pity on those people, and then he sent a word to them. If you can give me a gift that will make me sad when I am happy and make me happy when I am sad, then you will be released. Right? What is the gift? That will make you happy when you are sad and sad when you are happy. And so there was a lot of discussion amongst the prisoners. Oh, what is this gift? How do we get out of this? Anybody knows? Somebody might already know the story. Infinite loop. Very complicated answer. Okay, don't tell the whole story. I will tell the answer. Stealing him the prince when he is happy and giving him back money. Huh? Put him in the material world, yes. Yeah. Very similar. Yeah. Very similar answer. So there was an old man in that group. He came and said, let's do like this. And they put together a gift, and the gift was sent to the king. And so the king opened the gift. It was a ring. And the king said, what is this? You give me one ring, I have hundreds of rings, thousands of rings like this in my treasury. I have much more precious rings like this. What will this ring do? Then the old man said, no, read what is written on the ring. So he lifted the ring up, and then on the side of the ring, on the right hand circle, right, it was written, "This too shall pass." Right? This too shall pass. So he said, when you are very, very happy, then you read this ring, and this ring will say, "This too shall pass." Meaning, oh, you are very happy now, very favorable situation, something great going on. But remember that this is only temporary. This will pass. Whatever is giving you a lot of happiness and this thing, that will go away. Similarly, when you are feeling very, very sad, something bad has happened and you are troubled, again, lift up the ring and read it. It will say, "This too shall pass." Right? So, in this world, we make so much of, we create so much of drama around being happy or being sad, or in a favorable situation, unfavorable situation. But you see, this material world, that's why Prabhupada so beautifully is saying in the purport. Anybody remembers what Prabhupada says here? Very, very nice. Yeah, he quotes the verse, but there is a very particular thing he says in the purport that really, if you have observed, it will really strike you. Huh? He doesn't say winter and summer, I think. Prabhupada is telling, in the material world, one should not be very eager to be happy, nor should one be very much disturbed by material distress. It is a very revolutionary concept. Anybody will tell you, you should not be eager to be happy. Our whole life is spent in trying to be happy. In fact, when we preach to newcomers, we'll tell them, see, Krishna consciousness is such a wonderful thing. You'll not only be happy now, but you'll also be happy in the future. You are building your this thing. Right? And then we say, chant and be happy. When you're telling that also, sometimes we'll think, is this really true? I'm not happy right now. The reality is, we are not happy all the time. Right? There are moments of happiness. The reason is because we still not learned to be equipoised. In this material world, we should never be eager to be happy. Right? So the golden rule for this is, this too shall pass. Whatever we're thinking is troubling us, is causing us so much of, this thing. This will just come, it will go. One should not be too much, worried about that and too much stressed about it. Now, there is also another very important concept that will help us to be equipoised. This is it is given in the Shastras in different ways, but one of our modern self-help gurus, Stephen Covey, he wrote this in his very famous book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So this is a concept of what is your circle of influence and what is your circle of concern. Right? There's a difference between what is your circle of influence and what is your circle of concern. Venn diagrams, you draw 2 circles, and where the circles intersect, what is happening and where the circles intersect. What is common there? It is both a circle of influence and a circle of concern. So what does this mean? What is the circle of concern? Anybody wants to share? That what concerns you, or that it affects you. Most of the time in the world, there are so many things going on in the world. We are so much enamored by everything that is going on. Oh, this happened, that happened, this thing, that thing, news. We want to keep on browsing, looking at this. But does it really concern you? Does it really impact you? Does it really matter to you? Right? There are so many things that really doesn't concern you. Why should we bother or worry about it or even think about it, waste even 1 second of our time about this? Oh, somebody bought a Lamborghini. Okay, somebody bought a Lamborghini. What has that got to do with you? How is it concerned with you in any way whatsoever? Right? Or this happened over there, that happened over there. This is really not your circle of concern. Now, Equally important is the circle of influence. What does circle of influence mean? Which impacts your lifestyle. That is circle of concern. Yeah. Circle of influence is, can you do something about this? Right? I'll give an example, then you will sort of understand. So, I was reading yesterday that there's a big wildfire going on in Southern California. There are some 120 individual fires and 124 homes have been burnt, and it's raging on like anything. Right? Now, is it our circle of concern right now? If it spreads, wildfire, you can't say samsara da. But it is like hundreds and hundreds of miles away. If that fire comes here, we are in deep trouble. So it's actually not even our circle of concern. We should know, because our condition might also be similar. Right? Now, when we all went to Zion National Park, it was very hot. Right? When we get up in the morning, we'll see what temperature is it today. Oh, it's going to be 110 today or whatever. Is that a circle of influence for us? Sorry, circle of concern for us? Yeah, because we're right there. And we're going to go out today. Right? It is a circle of our concern. If you don't, think about it, you will end up in serious trouble. By the way, just 1 week after we went to Death Valley, some motorcyclists went on a trip, 3, 4 of them. One of them died, and 3 of them were very badly dehydrated, and they had to be airlifted, and they took many, many weeks to recover. Just 1 week after we went. Right? So if you're not prepared, if you're not careful, little bit of negligence, it could die. Right? So it is a circle of our concern. Now, is it in a circle of our influence? You're saying no? You can come back from the place only. Huh? Person, he is going to start a yagna, so rain will come, that way you will influence. By the time you influence, you will be in the hospital. Exactly. It is in a circle of influence because you can do something about it. First, wear a hat, then definitely hydrate yourself. Right? To be extra safe measure, put some, those fluids, electrolytes you get, right? You put some electrolytes into your water, and if it's children and all that, make sure they drink water, because they don't understand the difference between heat stroke and feeling a little heat. It is not much if you're not careful. So hydrate yourself in time so that you can do something about it. Right? I was giving this example just to say what is in our circle of concern and the circle of influence. That is where we should act. And the beauty is this: in life, if we are careful about understanding what is it that where you can influence and focus only on those areas, then one beautiful thing happens. Your circle of influence grows. Your ability to influence increases. Why? Why does your ability to why will your circle of influence grow when you focus on a few areas? Huh? Yeah, result oriented in one sense. What else? Huh? Because you're focused. Your attention is going there. How much time do you have in a day? Very limited time. Very limited energy we have. If you go on doing, lot of things, this, that, worry, do this, do that. Most people waste a significant portion of their life not knowing where to focus, not knowing what is important. Right? Even simple things like managing finance in our lives. So many people worry, I'm poor, I don't have money. Right? I need to prepare. Worry. You know how the poorest of poor people in America, how they express their worry of finances. They want to do something. By the way, these are people who want to do something about it and who will take some difficulty in putting some money aside, and they'll do something about it. What do you think most of the poor people do? Take loan, at least. No, but they're keeping their money aside. I'm not telling that great, taking money from someone. They're keeping their money aside. They're not enjoying it immediately. That is called smart thing. That will actually help you. But that's not what most of the poorest people do. Significant portion of their money they keep aside. How will vacation help you in your future? How will a car help you in the future also? They go and spend on lottery tickets. You go read. Almost like 80 to 90% of the money, by the way, lottery ticket is a beautiful business for the government. It makes so much money, it won't be billions of dollars it makes. But it is exploitation of the poor. If the same amount of money that they put in a lottery ticket, if they had put into a 401k or something, they would be so much better off. They actually can do something about their future. Instead, what they're doing, I will get millions of dollars. I'll get millions of dollars. They just go put. And by the way, the chances of your winning are very, very limited. Right? System is set up such that only small percentage of money is given out, and the rest of the money government keeps. It is designed like that. Now, the people who get it also, the few people who do get the lottery, they have studied about 40, 50 people like that over a course of many, many months and years. 94 or 95% of them, within 10 years, they're back to exactly where they were before the lottery. Not 5%, not 10%, not some 20%. 90% of the people end up where they were within 10 years. Many of them much before the 10 years. Because, first of all, they don't know what to do with the money. Many of them get kidnapped, money gets stolen. It is a very serious matter that robberies happen in the place. Then second thing that happens, they go crazy and go do crazy vacations, buy fancy cars, buy some super expensive this thing, go on buying clothes and this and that, all useless stuff. And before they know, all the money is over. Most of them do that. Nobody, even people who are very, very, they're careful, they're this thing, they get exploited by so-called advisors, money advisors, because they don't know how to manage money. And they are back to this thing. Right? And, so simple things, like in this day and age, like in this country right now, if simplest thing to do, if you follow some of our Vedic principles, like we say, if you follow the Vedic principles very nicely, Krishna will take care of you. If you give 50% of your wealth to Krishna, he will take care of you. But anyway, most people don't do. Okay, let's say you earn 5%, 10% you give donation. That will save you for your future. But others, at least don't spend more than, for your day-to-day this thing. You should not spend more than, just say 25, they'll say. Maximum 50% of what you earn. Many of us, we can easily live in 25% of what you earn. Maybe 50% max. So that means to say you should learn to live differently. Right? And then if you just went and invested it in a stock index fund and did not worry about it at all. That's all. Even if you are just earning daily wage, you can still have a good enough retirement. If you do that right from your beginning. The first few years matter. Anyway, I'm just trying to give you this circle of influence and concern with examples. What does it matter for devotees? As devotees, we should think, what is happening in my life right now? What is going on? What is under my circle of influence and circle of concern? When you concentrate and focus on your circle of that concentration, your influence also grows and you are focusing on the right things, and you can learn to be more equipoised and act on things that matter. Just tolerate the remaining things. A third important lesson for remaining equipoised is actually very nicely described in this particular chapter itself. Right? After this, what happens? Kamsa is so happy that Vasudeva has given the child to him. He will smile and say, I'll just read what he says in the next verse, because I'm sure we're not going to read that verse next time. He says, "Oh Vasudeva, you may take back your child and go home. I have no fear of your first child. It is the 8th child of you and Devaki I am concerned with, because that is the child by whom I am destined to be killed." Kamsa is acting so smart. And he just sent them away. Right? But is that all that happened? Right? Afterwards, Narada Muni shows up in the house of Kamsa. And Narada Muni, in that he goes and tells him, he is actually preaching, him to be nice. He is telling, this earth is overburdened by all sinful people. And so, Krishna is going to appear to lessen the burden of the earth, by killing all these things. And he is preaching to him, be a nice person, don't be overburdened, this thing, so you don't fall under that group of, people who will get killed. And then he also tells him, you see, 8th child, Krishna is all very tricky person. Which 8th child? First child can be 8th one also, no? This thing. And he confuses him so much. He said, oh, huh? What is that? Yeah, lotus flower. Where you start counting, which one is the 8th one now? Is this the 8th one or this is the 8th one? This is the first one or the 8th one? So it fully confuses him. And Kamsa gets so perturbed that he immediately imprisons Devaki and Vasudeva and takes the firstborn child and smashes the child to the ground right in front of them. Can you imagine anything more painful for a parent than to watch their child being killed right in front of their eyes? How cruel is Narada Muni? Right? Why did he do this? Right? Shastras say that, that he did this to accelerate Krishna's appearance, and it was the will of providence. Right? It is the will of providence. That's the important thing. For example, in Chitraketu's story, we hear Chitraketu was actually a great devotee of the Lord. And we know all his example of how he has a child, and he prays for a child because he doesn't have a child. And Angira Muni gives him saying, okay, I'll give you a blessing that you'll have a child. And they have a child, they're very, very happy. Jai Srila Prabhupada. And everybody, the whole kingdom is celebrating. And then the co-wives who did not get a child become so envious that they poison the child and the child dies. There's a whole description of how he gets preached. And after that he becomes a great devotee of the Lord. And it is said that he would go around in an aeroplane with the Gandharvas and they would sing the glories of the Lord all the time. And one day when he was going in the plane like this, singing the glories of the Lord, they came to Kailash Parvat, where, Lord Shiva was sitting with Mother Parvati on his lap. In the midst of all the big saints, sages were all assembled around him, and they were all eagerly listening to his preaching. Right? And Chitraketu, he just wonders at, look at the detachment of, Lord Shiva. And look at all the sages and everything. What a wonderful situation this is, that Mother Parvati is sitting on his lap. Right? See, we all have etiquette we follow. Any level of intimacy between husband and wife or something is done completely in private. Right? Etiquette is that we don't even even husband, wife, natural this when you're with people, you don't touch or you don't do anything. Let alone make your wife sit on your lap. Right? And Chitraketu just laughs at that and says, oh, wow, how wonderful it is that Mother Parvati is sitting on this thing. And Lord Shiva doesn't even care at all when he says that. The sages also didn't feel any perturbed. But Mother Parvati took offense. He's like, what is this fellow's impudence? He's not understanding the greatness of my Lord. And she curses him that you have this, asuric mentality. You become an asura in your next life. Right? So immediately you become an asura. And Chitraketu, he comes down and offers obeisances to both Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. And then he says to Mother Parvati, oh Mother, you are like my mother. If you have given me this curse, it is your blessing. And he says, thank you. And accepts it. Right? So in this example, you see Chitraketu being very showing the highest quality of accepting the will of providence and not thinking that Krishna has a plan, Lord has a plan. It's very difficult to be equipoised like that in very difficult situations like that. But we can all learn to practice this and take inspiration from these wonderful examples. Anything that is happening, good or bad, first of all, Prabhupada used to say many places, there is nothing good or bad in this world. It is like wet stool and dry stool. It is stool only. You might say dry stool is good because it doesn't, it's dried up, it doesn't stick to you and all, it doesn't make a mess. Right? No, wet stool is bad. But it is stool. Whether it's wet or dry, it's just a matter of, immediate influence or not. So that is why one has to learn these things of how to be equipoised. Right? And the fourth important thing for us to learn to practice being equipoised is that we have to put our consciousness in the highest possible state so that we can actually practice being equipoised. A lot of this problem of solving this being equipoised is trying to be an observer of when you become agitated or you become influenced by the modes of nature. Right? So, in order to be an observer and stay distant from our thoughts and situations and act, they say you be proactive and not reactive. Right? You don't react to the situation. You take your time, and respond to the situation. And more importantly, be proactive in the areas of your influence. Before something can go wrong, be proactive and try to get ahead of the situation. So these are ways in which one can learn to deal with ups and downs in life and be equipoised. Are we ready for Darshanarthi? Are we ready? Again. Okay. So we'll stop here. Anybody has any quick questions or comments? The first point is this too shall pass. So let me summarize the 4 points. First is this too shall pass. If you understand that everything, it's okay. If it is, sometimes we get so much overwhelmed. It is natural. We can't learn detachment overnight. It takes time. But we should take solace in that, every dog has his day. That's another way of saying. Like today, we might be going through some tough time or this thing, but favorable time will come for us also. And then, we can bask in the, a favorable situation and, benefit from it. In an unfavorable situation, it will just go. Just a matter of time, it will go. First is, this too shall pass. What is the second one? Let's see who remembers. What is your circle of influence and your circle of concern? And you focus your effort and attention on the intersection of the two. What is the third thing? Just accept the will of providence. Say, this is Krishna's, because not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. So accept that as Krishna's sanction, his will, and that will help us to remain equipoised. And fourthly, right? By chanting Hare Krishna, by every day, like we said, Madhupura was telling this morning, put yourself in the red hot fire. So then you get Samasate Suraha. We get all the wonderful qualities of the Suras by being there. And that gives us the ability to hold back and be an observer when different feelings come, different situations come. And not to be, get overwhelmed by emotions, but be able to be, instead of being reactive, be proactive, respond instead of react. Okay? We'll stop here. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bol Premanande.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami